Hello, everyone. Hello, sister. Do you know a lot of girls with this much facial hair? Hello, Sky. Hello, Fluffy and Hashem. How is everyone doing? Ah, okay, it's a joke. Hello, Mona. Hello, Anne and Diego. You didn't get a notification from HelloTalk? Diego, you should have gotten a notification from HelloTalk also. If you didn't, that's maybe a problem. It makes notifications late. Well, that's interesting. How late does it notify you? Like, I posted about this maybe an hour ago. Really? You enable them because you're receiving too many. Right, that's a problem, isn't it? Yeah. There's some trouble with the app lately. Okay, well, you should tell me what troubles you're having because I talk to the HelloTalk people regularly. I'm supposed to talk to them today later, actually, about something else. So if there is a problem like that, then tell me about it so I can tell them about it. And hello, Lynn. Hello, Anwar. Yes, it's been a little more than a week since I've been back. I should say, since I've been gone. I needed to take a little break and step back to look at what I'm doing and remember why I'm doing it. No, actually, no. I took a break just because I wasn't feeling great. And I didn't feel like I wanted to do this. You know, sometimes you feel like you're pushing dirt, but you forget what you're building. You know, you have to remember what you're building. You can't just push dirt all day. Pushing dirt without purpose feels, well, after a while, you start to wonder, why am I pushing this dirt? You know, so sometimes you have to take a step back and look at the plans. You know? Hello, Crystal. Yeah, I needed a break, but I needed I'm working on my mindset. I'm not I'm not completely better yet. I've spent the last week doing a lot of deep thinking and heavy thinking and consideration about many things. So I'm still working on that a bit. Yeah, and then there's that part of it too. There is just a part of it that's just tiring. It's just tiring. And, you know, I think sometimes I do too much. I'm on here every day, twice a day, or almost every day, twice a day. And to be honest, sometimes that doesn't feel very effective. I get lots of followers, but I feel like, oh, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't feel very connected. It feels like every single time I'm just here answering questions, but not making very many connections. And that's the danger of social media, is when you have lots and lots of interactions on social media, but without connection, then yeah, that's draining. It's draining. And I feel like often I have a lot of interactions with people, answering questions, but I don't feel a great connection, and that's which is also one of the reasons why I prefer live streams instead of voice streams. I know you guys like voice streams better, but I prefer live streams because then I can make connections. If I see someone, I can make a connection. It's harder to make a connection when you can't see the person, you know? And I think that maybe some of you forget. I know that your main purpose for being here, most of you, is to work on your English, right? So, again, you go to the voice rooms because you think you're going to get more practice with your English there. And that's great. I get that. But I think you also need to remember that to be honest, the value of this app is far greater in what it can do for you for connections than it is for language exchange. So, yeah. Try journaling. Yeah, I kind of do that. I I don't journal with ChatGPT so much as I have discussions with ChatGPT when things are bothering me. I will propose a question to ChatGPT and then talk about it and work through it. And I do that with a lot of things, actually. I find it to be quite helpful. If you have a very, very inquisitive mind, if you have a mind that likes to ask a lot of questions, then that's a fantastic way to learn and to explore ideas. And it's almost like self-therapy in a way, I think. Thank you guys for all the positive comments and support. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm going to relook at my schedule, Lynn. The problem, Lynn, is that it's hard because I want to be here a lot because I want to teach many different things. But I think I'm devaluing myself when I do that too much. Yeah. And Mona, that is part of it too. Yeah, that part of it is true as well in terms of Hello Talk's role in all of this. Which I'm still working on that with them. I'm begging them to make a subscription model. And if you guys want to help me, you can help me by send Hello Talk a message and tell them you think that the good hosts on Hello Talk should be able to earn subscriptions, right? If people want to buy a subscription to my channel to support me, you know, a few dollars a month or something, right? That should be something that Hello Talk does. That would be tremendously helpful in terms of support. But they're still hesitant. I don't know why. I've given them a complete model of how you could do it, to be honest. But I feel like they're hesitant for reasons they won't tell me. I think they have some reason why they don't want to do a subscription model, but I don't understand why, because one, I just don't see the downside, and two, it's what everybody's doing. It doesn't make any sense to not want to do that when everybody else is doing that as well. So anyway. It did help you practice, but lately you're addicted to what? ChatGPT? Hello, Jane. I'm an artist and I'm more sensitive. That might be true. That might be true. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Everyone's going through a seasonal breakdown. I don't know. I thought it was partly just about winter, but I don't think it was for me. Linda says it just agrees with whatever you say. That's true, but if you are a hypercritical person, Linda, and you're not easily swayed, then it's a perfect therapist, because a therapist is supposed to be supportive of you. And your role in therapy should be to discuss things and to ask questions to your therapist about your life and what they think about the way you do things. Therapy works much better if you don't just go there and talk and hope that they ask the right questions. If you ask them the questions that you think should be asked, you know what should be asked many times, right? You know what you're worried about. You know what you think is not quite right. You should ask about it, right? So in that case, ChatGPT is a perfect therapist in the sense that if you are hypercritical and you're not just trying to get it to give you the answer you want to hear, right? If you're really trying to find logic and rationality and truth, then it is a great tool. It is a people pleaser, but you just have to be hypercritical and question it always. Whatever answer it gives you, find a flaw with its answer and ask it about it. If you do that, then I find it to be quite an honest and useful debate companion / therapist. Thank you very much, Hashem. They stopped the teacher subsidy as well. What's that? What was the teacher subsidy? Hello, Libra. I'm fine. As fine as one can be in these days. Hello, Belen. How are things in Spain? Do you have power now? You know, a teacher who's doing live streams and Hello Talk is paying them. What teacher is that? they're teaching English IELTS. Okay, interesting. Yeah, see, that's another reason why this is not working well for HelloTalk, because they have no system. They have no formalized system. So they have some people on here who have been on here for only a few weeks or a few days, and they're able to do lives. And then there are people who've been on here for years, and they're able to do lives. And some people are preparing a lot of preparation, and they have a lot of equipment, and they do a good job. And other people pick their nose and, sit on the toilet while they're doing their live streams. And there's no standard. And there's no incentive to create a better standard. And it seems very purposeless. You go on a live for what? For what? What's the direction? What's the purpose? You have 1 million people with cameras on doing what? And why do you think it's good to give 1 million people a camera like 1 million people have good things to do? They don't. They don't. I really think that they should go back to the system they had before, where live streams were not available to everybody. Live streams were available to people who earned it. It's a Chinese app, Libra. Some people even smoke and drink during lives. Right, I've seen worse. I've seen much worse, actually, on live streams. And yeah, another reason, I've given them so many reasons why, hey, you should limit the number of people who do lives and voice rooms. Because then you'll have a lot fewer headaches. If you choose better people, it's like if you ask anybody to walk into a school and be a teacher, right? Who's going to do a better job? An actual teacher or just some dude? So they have no standard, and that's a problem. That's a problem because it's not TikTok. I think they want it to be like TikTok, but it's not. It should have a direction. It should have a purpose. It should have either educational towards language or cultural. And sure, it's a broad concept to say you should have only cultural content, but sitting around drinking with your friends, I'm sorry, I don't consider that to be cultural content, even if you're Irish. I think that it should be more than just teachers. I don't think you should just say just teachers should have live streams. But they did tell me that very soon, in the next month or two, I hope, they're creating a new system that will have a differentiation between real teaching streams and just random streams. That's a good start. That's a good start. They're going to do something to make it clear who is doing real teaching and who is just doing stuff. That's coming soon, I was told. Maybe they're focused more on making money from the VIP fees. Yeah, I know. But again, to be honest with you, they have two ways of making money, and I find both of them to be not particularly the best ways. One is VIP fees, which for the most part and for most people, the VIP is too expensive and they're never going to buy it. That's one. And then the other way that they make money is through all these coins. And the coins, to be honest, I hated the coins ever since they started doing the coins and stickers and all of that. It's childish. It's tremendously childish. Please look at it. Look at it just from an outside standpoint and tell me how it is not childish. It is incredibly childish. All these little coins and stickers and, I lived in Asia, so I know it is part of an Asian culture thing. But at some point in time, if you're 40 years old and you still are cuddling with your stuffed animals on your bed, that might be a little quirky. It might be time to look at that and consider whether that's a good idea or not. And that's how I feel about the coins. The coins are like, why are we doing this? Are we 5? Are we 10? You know, are we encouraging people to be 5 and 10? But they do it because it's the only way they know how to make money. But there are other ways they could make money. There are many other ways they could make money. I have been thinking about it since day one. And I know they have too, but I just don't think they are very good at thinking outside the box. Everything that they do is just, what is this app doing? Oh, let's do that. That's what they're doing. It's not a very creative way to find an answer. Anyway, you just received a call telling you that Adriana has won a recipe award from MasterChef? What? What? Are you serious? She sent in a recipe for her watermelon gazpacho, and they got an award for it from MasterChef, the TV show? Wow, that's amazing. I've never done anything like that before. Well, good for her. Give her a hug for me. That's amazing. Scenario says, to be honest, the reason I bought the Lifetime VIP was simply because I met people, I really hit it off, and then my time was up. Right. Yeah. You know, like, here's another idea that I have not told them yet, but I'm going to tell them, is in America, if you drive a car, you have to have car insurance. And if you're 18 years old, the insurance is pretty high because you're a much riskier driver at that age, right? So if you're 16 or 17 or 18 years old, your insurance is going to be higher because that's a very risky age at that, youth, right? We make stupid decisions when we're young, right? But the older you get, if you have a good driving record, you don't have any wrecks and accidents and speeding tickets, if you drive longer and longer, then your insurance goes down. The price of your insurance goes down. And I don't know why they can't do that for HelloTalk or any other app. And what I mean is, if you join an app and you are there for a certain amount of time, and you participate in a valuable way over that time, and you do things that are positive for the app, you should be able to earn value for what you do for the app as a user. And what I mean is, if you're here for 5 years and you've never been reported and you've helped many, many people, right? If you have statistics showing that you've helped many people and you've been an audience member and maybe you've shared about, how many times have you shared about HelloTalk and things like that, then the price of the VIP should go down. The longer that you're on the app, the price of the VIP should go down based on your behavior on the app. And if you, that way, maybe somebody says, well, in 5 years, I can earn a VIP membership. And I think that would be great. Yeah. Libra says, I think the price is not high for Lifetime. Yeah, but the thing about Lifetime is never Lifetime. It's the lifetime of the app. Right? It's the lifetime of the app, not the lifetime of you. Right? And yes, then, Carolina says VIP should be free for me. You're right, it should be. It should be. For anybody who's a good content creator who does a certain amount of content, yeah, that should get you a free VIP. I don't know why that shouldn't even be a question. That should be the first thing that is offered to become a good host. do hosting for 300 hours for 1 year without being reported, and you can get a free VIP for life or whatever. Free VIP for a year. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just venting now. So maybe some of you are confused by what we're talking about. And hello, Carolina. Good to see you. I'm hanging in there. How much is it in the US for the VIP? I don't know anymore. I haven't looked in a while. I can't remember. Right, yeah, like that's part of what I'm saying too, Fluffy. Fluffy said, I surely support this. As a student, we need valued teachers to help us seriously. But the problem is they have not done anything to create an environment that would support good teachers. There have been many, many teachers who have left already. Many, 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 many good hosts have left because there was nothing to support them and nothing to offer them here. What they offer as support is really very, 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 very limited. And quite honestly, it's not really even support. It's more like a mutual agreement of I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. That's not support. As a host, you're already doing work. You're already doing stuff. So the support part shouldn't be a quid pro quo situation. Quid pro quo. It means this for that. You do this and I'll do that. I'm splitting the truth? In what way? $150 for lifetime on the 30% promotion. Yeah, but still, that's a lot of money. $150 for an app? That is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah, tit for tat is like a slang way of saying quid pro quo. Quid pro quo is a Latin term. It's a legal term, but it's a very common one. It's a good one to learn. Yeah, $150, that's a lot. Come on. And again, like I said, why not create a system where it becomes cheaper if you do certain things? If you are on the app and you are regularly on the app, every day you're on the app and you're participating and you're not being reported and you're sharing. If you do that every day, the part of the reward should be, oh, well, then guess what? After 30 days, it's 5% cheaper. After 90 days, it's 10% cheaper. After 1 year, it's 35% cheaper. Something like that. That would encourage people to want to be on the app, to want to participate, and to earn a VIP or a cheaper VIP. You bought it for less than 100. Okay, well, that's good. In your country, it's around 90 for a lifetime. 90 US dollars? That's not terrible. Yeah. Quid pro quo, P-R-O. But the rest of it is correct, yeah. Yes, this is a Chinese app. It's in Shenzhen. China creates this app, that's why there are many Chinese here. That's one reason why there are many Chinese on the app. Yeah, it's a Chinese app. But if you want to know why there are many Chinese here in my room, 这是因为我会说中文. They know I speak Chinese. Or at least some of them know. Anyway. Bob, I don't have a stream schedule anymore. I did, but I don't currently. I'm going to make a new one, but it's going to be not quite so often. And I'm working on... I'm also working on something that I want to try to create my own... what's the word I'm looking for? Fan club? Maybe? I don't want to call it a fan club, but something like that. I would like to have a fan club where the people who are following me regularly, who have been supporting me a lot, I want to be able to offer them more. It's the same thing. What I'm saying is if you want my help, earn it. And if you support me and you show that you're here and you're being positive, then I want to support you, right? But if you just showed up and you just walked in the door, I know you have questions, but you might need to earn it, you know? LeBron says, it's crazy. I can't imagine why the app can be allowed in China. I know. There is that. Yeah. That's another thing that I've actually wondered quite a bit too, because they do have stuff that happens on those live streams that I don't know how this app doesn't just get shut down sometimes. So, what kind of fan club in my website? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out is... They have a fan club on HelloTalk, but it has no purpose and has no value, and I don't know what to do with it. So I'm talking to them about that as well, about doing something with the fan club on HelloTalk that actually means something. So if you join the fan club, and again, if it can measure your statistics to see how much that you're there, then that should earn you some extra time, maybe. If you don't have a VIP, maybe you don't have a VIP, well, fine. Then again, you can earn it. You can earn stage time. Or you can earn time to watch, you know? That's the next idea that I'm going to propose to them, is the limit that they have on the time. They should make that something that can be changed, meaning earned. So that if you don't have a VIP, but you want to get more time, they should have a system to be able to earn that based on behavior, right? If you do things like help people, right? If you go on the app to support people and help people, then that should earn you some time on stage. If you share... about the app. If you share about a live stream, that should earn you some time on stage. They should have ways so that they can earn more time. So we'll see. The fan club thing, I would really like to have it. It's something I've wanted for a long time, but I can't juggle anything more. I have too much on my plate already. I'm doing too much. And that's part of the problem, is that I'm one man trying to do 15 things at the same time, and I can't do 16, right? So the fan club, I need to figure out a way to get the fan club. Either it has to run itself, or I need someone to run it for me, because I can't do it. I have no time. Hello, Loyal. Well, that's nice of you to say. I don't know if that's completely true, but yeah. Anyway. I might have... I do have an ability to make a fan club on my website, too, but I would rather have the fan club be part of HelloTalk, because it would be easier to see who I need to support, who's supporting me, who's in the fan club, right? So if you're in my fan club, I should be able to see it on the screen. I should see, oh, LeBron's in my fan club, Fluffy's in my fan club, Fabiana's in my fan club. That way I know, oh, look, those are the loyal people who are always here, Yeah. It should show a badge that shows new user, right? So I see who's brand new, and it should show a badge to show how long you've been a user, or if you've earned, a loyalty star for being here a long time, or joined my fan club. All right. If somebody wants to come talk to me, they can. Although I don't know what they're going to ask me today. So raise your hand if you'd like to come on stage and talk to me. But I would rather not answer the question, how can I improve my English? Anwar, you want to come up? Hello, Anwar. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. How are you, man?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So,
what did you want to talk about with me?
so I've been trying to take some time off from social media, like from Instagram and other social media like Twitter as well. But I guess uh I can't really do it because sometimes I have to check something there. Like for example, I have some friends that I message on Instagram. They only use certain app or certain messages, but again, I heard that you said the word devalue. You try to help other, but then you devalue yourself. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes that's what you're doing. I think that most people don't pay attention or don't notice it, but a teacher will notice it because it's kind of like when people go to the beach. Why do we have a law now that says you're not allowed to take sand or take seashells from the beach anymore? Right? We have laws. Most beaches, you're not allowed to take the sand. You're not allowed to take the seashells, and the reason why is because if you were allowed, and every day you have people coming to the beach, and every day somebody's taking a little bit of sand, well, guess what? Over a long time, that degrades the beach, right?
Yeah.
And the same
Yeah.
thing happens to a teacher where people come on here and they don't know me, and they just want their questions answered. They just come on and they just say, how do I do this? Or how do I do this? I don't know you, but answer my question. And it feels like they're taking a little piece of you and then walking away, and taking a little piece of you and then walking away, and taking a little piece of you and then walking away. And if you do it too much, then yeah, it does. It feels like it's taking away from you, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why, like I said, it's important that you have to find people who actually you have a connection with, people that want to talk to you and not just take something from you, you know?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like I said, I think that that's just the nature of social media. Social media has created an entire generation of people who want everything now. They want everything
Yeah.
right now. So what that means is they just join and they just click, answer my question, or they just raise their hand, but they don't take any time to try to figure out who you are or what you're doing or what you're about or what your background is, I find that to be very strange because I just don't work that way. You know, like if I join someone's room, I wait and I listen and I watch to see what are they doing, what is this about, before I ask whatever. You know, I want to see first. It's the principle of yeah, it's the principle of any good musician. You have to listen first. You have to listen first. You know, you cannot play music well if you didn't listen to what the other people are doing. Right? So when you go to the room and the musicians are playing, if you don't listen to them and you just play, you're not playing with them. You're not making music. Right? So the first principle is you must listen first, then find your place in the music. How can you fit, you know? And that's the simple principle of any good classroom, too. You walk into a classroom, you should listen and figure out what's going on first. But, you know, yeah. Like, that's another thing I told them. I really want them to get rid of the button that says, "What's the topic?"
Yeah. This one, yeah.
Because it's a pointless button. The topic is already written. It has already been written. The title of the thing is right there, Free Chat with Teacher Mark. Or it'll say Advanced Vocabulary with Teacher Mark. Or it'll say, English Etymology with Teacher Mark. It will tell you what it is. And there's a description that I've already written that tells you what I'm doing. And so, why do they need that button? The button, and I told them, and I think they're working on this. I think they're going to change it. I think they're getting rid of that button, and that when you click that button now, it will just show you the title of the stream, or it'll show you the title and description so that you can read that, right? Which is what you should do, right? Why do we waste everybody's time with everybody who joins clicks, "What's the topic?" Every 5 seconds somebody asks, "What's the topic?" And again, if you just sit there and listen for a minute, you'll figure out what the topic is. If you just listen first. We may have lost Anwar. Yeah, it is really annoying. You know, and again, it's a little hard for me to understand that level of impatience. Because if you just stop and listen for 5 minutes, you'll probably know what the topic is. You'll figure it out. You know? So, anyway, we're going to wait and see if Anwar comes back or whether maybe he lost his time limit. I don't know. Sometimes we press it on accident. Yeah, I noticed that too. I know. I think it's right there where it's easy to press. Right? I think some people accidentally press the button. But again, that should be eliminated. It shouldn't be so easy to press. Yeah. And hello, Gigi, who's new here. My name is Teacher Mark. I'm hanging out and having a free chat today, so I'm not really teaching. We're just talking about life and about Hello Talk and about social media and listening. Hello, Richard. Thank you, Emma. How are you? And hello, Aman, over there on YouTube. If you're still there, hello. How's my website coming along? It's fine. I need to fix my schedule. My schedule is not working well on my website, but other than that, I think it's fine, and I'm not working on it anymore. For right now, I'm putting that thing aside. it's done enough for now. It's done enough. There's still more I could do with it, but yeah. Hello, Alia. No, I'm not in Germany. I'm in the United States. I visited Germany not too long ago, a few months ago. But no, I live in the United States. Yes, Libra, I speak Chinese pretty well. I'm not an expert, I'm not a master, but I can speak pretty well. I can express myself. Well, unfortunately, we may have lost Anwar. So I'm going to let him go. But hopefully he can come back again. Yeah, it does feel like it's been a long time, doesn't it, Belen? Alia, what are you saying about my parents? What? Bay wants to talk. Let's see if Bay wants to still talk. Alia, I'm not sure what you're asking about my parents. Ah, that's okay, Anwar. Yeah, I thought maybe we lost you for the time limit or something. It's all right, man. I said my parents live in Germany? No. I have friends in Germany. No. No, my parents are from the US. My family, my mother's side of the family is originally from, my great-grandfather is from Ireland. And then my father's side of the family, they're from Slovakia. Oh, it's quite noisy there. That's okay. All right, maybe next time. Libra, I live in Ohio. Hello, Eduardo. You built a coffee shop website to put into practice what you learned in your programming course. Well, that's good. Good for you. What did you what did you use to make your website? I used Wix to make mine, but I'm not sure if that was a good idea or not. I'm almost regretting using Wix. It's really good in some ways, but it's really terrible at others. Did I buy a domain? You mean me? Yes, I did. Yeah, AFIEC English. Fabiana, have you not been to my website? It's afiecenglish.com. You can go there. AFIEC means a friend in every corner. That's my brand. AFIEC, a friend in every corner English. You're welcome. Yeah, if you go to my website, you can subscribe to my website, and which you should. You should subscribe to my website, because if you don't subscribe to my website, then I have no way to contact you if HelloTalk is gone, right? So you should go to my website and sign up so that I can keep in touch with you and maybe let you know when I'm doing other good things, you know? Yeah. But also, on my website, I have a page called Resources. If you go to my website and click on Resources, there are many, 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 many free resources to study English on my website. Alia, oh, you misunderstood you. That's okay. That's all right. It happens. You're practicing listening. That's okay. Sometimes I speak fast. You studied coding in boot camp and a platform online. I was searching some exercises about coding. Ah, okay. You'd like to work as a web developer full stack. Yeah, I don't know anything about coding. I'm so old that I remember learning about DOS programming when I was a kid in high school. We learned about DOS, which is really old, right? And that's the only programming I ever learned was a little bit of DOS, a few weeks of DOS. But I don't understand coding now at all. But I don't really think I need to anymore because now ChatGPT, will do all that for you. Studying English just focusing on book is not that interesting to you. Well, that's right. But Libra, if you want to study something, many people ask me about the best way to study English, and they want me to tell them one thing. They want me to say, well, the best way to study English is with videos or with live streams or YouTube. But no, guys, I want you to think about it for just a minute. There's a big flaw in your logic. When you want one thing that's the best way to learn English, the best way to learn English would be every way to learn English. Books, videos, apps, live streams, teachers, friends, tutors, voice rooms, whatever you can find, that would be the best way. So, it's good to have a book. It's good to have a live stream. It's good to have apps. It's good to have friends and teachers and YouTube. It's good to have all of those things. And if you don't like that book, get another one. There are millions of books about English. For example, I have about 70 different grammar books for teaching and learning English grammar, but I don't like most of them. My favorite one is this one. It's called Basic English Grammar by Saddleback Publishing. That is my favorite book for learning English. It's simple, it's relatively fun, it's easy to go through quickly by yourself. It has just enough information and exercises, well balanced, I think. And it's not too painful. Do I have an English book? I'm working on one right now. I haven't finished it yet, Alia. I'm still writing it. That's another reason why I need to stop doing so many live streams and voice streams, is because I love doing live streams and voice streams because I love teaching. But I have many, many important things I need to be working on, and sometimes when I do live streams and voice streams, it just, unfortunately, it gets in the way too much of when I should be focusing on my book, or should be focusing on my video series, or should be focusing on my YouTube channel, etc., etc., etc. When was that book released? You mean Basic English Grammar? I don't know. I'm not sure. Hello, Abu, or I should say hello, Razel. Do Russian stores have it? I don't know, Alia. I don't know. You can do a search and see if you can find it. Hilal, I don't know anything about immigration. I have no idea about anything about immigration. Okay? The problem is not in the grammar, it's how to be fluent. Okay, so Omar, I have a question for you. Can you define fluency for me? Can you define it? There are PDFs available online. You mean for that book? Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, there is, because I use one. Yeah, I use that for, yeah, here, look, I can show you the book. I've got it right here. Where is it? Here it is. Basic English Grammar. Take a picture. This is my favorite English grammar book. They have level 1 and level 2. Okay, Saddleback Publishing. All right, and I want to just show you very quickly. It's like a playful looking book, right? It's playful looking. It's not, it doesn't look really boring and dry and terrible. It's got a bunch of cartoons and stuff. It doesn't look super childish, right? It's not for babies, but it's also not, like the most popular book is called English Grammar in Use. That's the most famous and popular book, but I don't like it. It's boring. It's dry. There are no illustrations. The text is too small. It's a huge book. It's so, yeah. But this one is, look, it's quick, it's fun, it's easy. It explains things pretty well. So if you use a book like this and ChatGPT, right? You can upload this as a PDF to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm learning this book. Can you help me and go through it with me? And it will. It can do that. So, anyway, basic English grammar. And Omar, when I was asking you about defining fluency, I asked you that because the word fluent doesn't mean anything. It's a very terribly defined word. It's a word that when you look it up, it says able to speak easily or freely about things. But what does that really mean? How many vocabulary words do you need to be fluent? Is it 10,000? Is it 20,000? Is it 20,221? Or 20,222? Do you need to have perfect grammar to be fluent? What about your accent? Does accent have anything to do with fluency? So the word fluent is just a terrible word because it doesn't have any proper definition. What you want to do is you want to feel that you can express yourself. That's what you're seeking. And that means you need to have the language living in your mind. If the language is not living in your mind, then you'll never feel like you can express yourself. Rozelle, you're in the wrong place to get stuff about immigration, man. I'm just an English teacher and a drummer. I don't know anything about sponsoring anybody to come to the country. And to be honest with you, I don't even think it's a good idea to come here right now. Not a good time. Not a good time to be an immigrant in the United States. So I would not recommend it. Try Canada. Try Canada. You'll be better off. Should you practice speaking with a person who's a level below you? Sure, there's nothing wrong with that. They might have, maybe they're better at you in some way, right? Maybe their grammar is not as good as yours, or their vocabulary is not as good as yours, but maybe their pronunciation is better, right? So even when you speak with someone who's a level lower than you, there's value in that, and they might have something that they can offer you. Maybe. The name of the book is Basic English Grammar. Thank you, Libra. Yeah. Okay. No flirting, guys. You guys chill out. Shelfie, I don't know how you can get it. Look it up. Do a search. Do a search online. Have I seen the news? The news about what? I'm afraid to watch the news anymore. Abu, I live in the United States in Ohio. Belen, what are you talking about in the news? What's going on in the news now? Belen's raising her hand. I'm not energetic. Well, you can't be energetic every day. Hello, Belen. How are you?
Hey, hi, Mark. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, I'm happy to
Finally.
see the restaurant.
Yeah, I'm here in the corner, you know?
Yeah, I miss that corner.
Yeah, I miss you. And Winter also.
I miss you too.
So, the good places and the good signs.
Yeah. So what?
Maybe it's too noisy. It's a little bit noisy.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's
No,
okay.
it's
You
okay.
tell
Yeah,
me.
yeah, it's no problem. Yeah. It doesn't sound like
Well,
it's not. It's not that busy right now.
okay. No. We finished the service. So, we are ready to go. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's late. Yeah.
well, it's about 4:30. No,
Ah.
4:20.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, after the electricity storm, now it's all established and
Ah. So yeah,
I-
I think what you want to call it is it wasn't an electricity storm. It was a power outage, right?
yeah, power outage.
Yeah, we call it a power outage. Outage.
Outage.
Yeah. Like the word
Okay.
out and age together.
And
Outage.
I realized that we are almost nothing without electricity.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
know, right? Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
People can have panic.
Yeah.
Say, okay, what's wrong? Don't worry. We don't have phones. We
Yeah.
don't have electricity. You know, we have to wait and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. I don't know the reason yet, but I don't trust anything.
Yeah, I know. I mean, without power, we've had power outages a few times in the last year. We usually have them when it's a big thunderstorm. When the thunderstorms come through, they'll knock the trees down, and the trees will hit the power lines, and then we lose power for. Usually, it's just a few hours, but sometimes it's a whole day or a few days. And then, yeah, when you lose power, you suddenly realize it's funny how quiet it gets. It gets so quiet because now there's no power, so the lights are off, and you don't know. Lights actually make noise. If you guys didn't know that, not all lights, but most lights do make some kind of noise. And if you if you have no power, then suddenly that noise is gone, and you're like, wow, that's weird. It's so quiet here now. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was the first time I lived something like this, you know. As
Yeah.
in all the country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So it was the whole country? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, whole country.
And do they know why yet?
Well, they say because that we have a lot of power systems with the eolic, and it was a broken balance between the voltages.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know the reason.
So
because-
some sort of a failure. Something failed.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have overpowered, but I think it was something no balance in that, and I don't know. I don't know. And then let me tell you about Adriana and the contest.
Yeah, tell me
Yeah.
what
You know, I think they
on
okay,
MasterChef. That's crazy.
I'm dreaming, yes, because of the company that provides food at the school, to the school. They had a contest, and I didn't know. So Adriana asked me one day, I need a recipe to write, and okay, tell your father, he's a chef. So she wrote it down, and I received a call that telling me that she's the winner.
Wow. Is it a recipe from the restaurant or
No.
no?
Just a recipe.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
one of the organization is one of the master chefs, and it's gonna be there. It's a woman that is a chef, very famous here, and she's going to give her the money.
That's amazing. I'm excited for her. Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm dreaming. Am I dreaming? What it is?
Well, now you have to put that on the menu this summer. You have to. You have to. I mean, it was
Yeah.
on MasterChef. Now you can tell people this recipe was on MasterChef or whatever. You can say that's amazing. Yeah, that'll be good for the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
that's
need
exciting.
we need a star.
And by the way, I forgot what happened with her English tests too, because I got busy
Okay,
and
we
I
are
don't
waiting.
know.
We are waiting.
Oh, you're still waiting. Okay, so
Yeah,
she hasn't taken it.
It will take
She already
2 or
took.
3 months.
She already took the test though.
Yes,
Ah.
and she said
She
"Ma'am,
did fine.
Very easy.
Oh,
I said,
okay.
Oh my God.
All
Really?
right. Okay.
Let's
Good.
see.
Yeah. All right. Her English is
B1,
really
so
pretty
I'm-
good.
Unbelievable. B1. So
Yeah. I think
She's
she's
going to
definitely
catch me.
B1. Yeah, I think she's definitely B1. She should be reading at a B1, B2 level.
she's going to catch me very soon.
Yeah, I have another student that's about that same level, about the same age as Adriana, and I'm using ChatGPT with him, and I asked ChatGPT to write a story at B1 and B2 level, so it's the same story, but just written at 2 different levels, and then we try to read both and see. He can do the B1 level pretty well. B2 is definitely harder, but it should be. If you need to push yourself beyond your level. If you're just doing it at your level, you can't. Yeah.
She loves English. And
I know she does. Yeah.
And all the time telling, do you want we call Mark, or do you want to speak with Mark? No. He's so lazy to speak. And I say, why?
Well,
shy.
I will make the offer again if she ever wants a free, lesson a week
Thank
or
you.
something. I'd be happy
Thank
to
you,
do
Mark.
that.
But if I say
And
yes,
and it,
says
she doesn't
no.
have to. It doesn't have to be a lesson. It could just be chatting.
Yeah,
just talk
hanging
about
out.
stuff. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. So
But now is the time. If I say yes, he says no.
I know, right? I know. I understand, right?
12 years,
Yeah. Well, once they reach that age, 12, 13, you have to put the food bowl on the table and walk away. You know, you don't tell them, hey, eat. No, no, no. You just put it there and then walk away and then let them come to it, you know?
Or using the opposite psychology to her.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
That sometimes works.
Yeah. Yeah. At that age, sometimes it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mark, I don't want to tell you more time.
No, it's okay. Yeah. But no, it's good to
I'm
see
okay.
you. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm okay. I just, it's just, you know, honestly, at some point in time, depression becomes normal because it is normal. It's abnormal. I feel like it's not normal to feel completely happy living in the day and age that we live in right now. If you're feeling very happy every day, I feel like either something's wrong with you or you're deliberately not paying attention, because ignorance is bliss. It's easier if you don't know. So there are some people, I think, that they are happy people, but they're happy because they don't know about any of the things that are happening in the world. If they
But
did
we
know.
shouldn't be in that statement all the time, you know, because the
Right.
stress goes away.
I know
you
it's
in your
hard,
body or-
but that's what I'm trying to say is I just feel like I think that right now everything is a very difficult time period, and
Well, I tell you, if I
Yeah.
feel the same way, Mark. You know?
yeah, I know. I know. I'm not alone. I think there are lots of people who feel that way. And I think that what I realized over the last week is that it's really, really, really important right now to do things that matter. To do things that matter. And that's why I needed to take a break, because, like I said, sometimes I feel like I'm pushing dirt around, but I don't know why I'm pushing the dirt around, you know? I should be building something. But if you're just, you know, when I do these, I love doing these, and I love talking to people, and I love teaching. But when I do it too much, it just feels like I'm pushing dirt, but with no purpose. Like I'm not really getting anything out of it. And there are other buildings that I should be working on, like my book, and I should be working on my YouTube channel, and I should be working on my videos. And-
Prioritize.
Right. So, right. That's why I need to try to just do this when it counts, and I need to find a way to make it more effective for the people who really follow me and not people who don't know. You know, like unfortunately, I had to remove this kid Abu, who came in, and he's exactly what I'm talking about. That's a person who came into a room and there's music being played, but he didn't listen. He just started making his own music. And now we have two different musics going on at the same time. And guess what? Nobody likes to listen to two musics at the same time. Right? So that's why, like I said, he came in and he was talking about immigration, and he was talking about give me a job, and he was talking about how bad Bangladesh is. And I understand he wants to talk. He wants to talk. And I understand that he's probably going through a difficult time. But, again, there's a good reason why we have two ears and one mouth, you know?
Totally agree.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm going to find Marius. Let me see what he said. No. It is someone. Just say hello. Perdón.
Hello, my friend. How are you, Marius? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's with someone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
All the stuff here.
Yeah, yeah. I love your little restaurant. If I had a restaurant, that's exactly like the size of restaurant you have is that's as big as I would want. Just that, you know, not too big, not too small. Any bigger than that, it's too crazy.
Mark, a headache.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's the danger of things is, you know, business makes everything terrible. Like, you know, you have to make money, and the more money you make, the more it becomes not so enjoyable, you know?
Totally agree.
Yeah. That's another thing, like the economics of the world right now have everybody feeling desperate. Everybody feels like they always have to make as much money as they possibly can because nobody knows what's coming. and then like I said, I think everybody feels like everything's just work all the
In a
time.
kind of way, we're trapped in a spiral, that it goes up, goes down, up,
Yeah.
but you don't go out of that spiral.
Spiral.
A spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame, but we
Yeah.
have to live with this
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
for the moment. So
So anyway, I'm back. I don't know. I need to change my schedule. I'm gonna figure out a new schedule that's better. And I don't know how many voice rooms I'm going to do because I don't like the voice rooms as much. I just don't. So I might do a few because they get me a lot more followers. But I just don't value them so much, and they're a lot more draining on me. I have to answer a lot more questions, and I feel like it's that feeling of a lot of people visiting the beach and taking the sand. And so I feel like somebody's taking a little piece of me every little time, and it's draining, and it doesn't feel particularly, when you're a teacher, you do get a great sense of reward from your work. But if it feels like you're in a classroom and every day you have some new guy who comes in the class and he asks his question and then he leaves and he never comes back again, and you have a guy like that every 3 minutes, there's a new guy who comes in the door who asks the question and then leaves and never comes back again. Right, that's what it feels like. It would
that
be
you are
it would
wasting
be
your time in.
right. It would be like if they came to your restaurant and they came there and they don't know what you serve, they don't know what you do, and they ask for a hamburger, and then you tell them, "Oh, but we do this," and they say, "Okay, well, I'll have that." But then the next day they come back again and they say, "Can I have a hamburger?" And it's like, yeah, right, yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
well, hey,
I
teacher
know what
Mike.
you're
Yeah.
talking about.
People are always talking over. Right. Yeah. And hey, Mike, how are you? Good to see you. And yeah, Mike, when I do the voice rooms, people, I think they're going to have a more chance to talk. But the truth is, no, you don't get any more chance because you have to control the conversation. So I do one by one for everybody. So there is no
And be
difference.
patient.
Yeah,
Be
there's no difference between the voice rooms and the live streams for me, because I still only talk to one person at a time, because you can only talk to one person at a time. Really. So yeah, I don't know. And the voice rooms just feel a little bit like there are too many people who are just desperate to get their questions answered now, but they don't have any patience, and I don't know. Everybody, I just want to tell everybody, please, find purpose in what you do, and don't be so mindless in what you do. Lots of people are just too mindless, and dealing with mindless people is draining. It's mindful people, that's not a problem. Mindless people, it's draining. It's draining.
Yeah.
You try to keep it under control, but people keep unmuting their mics. Yeah. Right, like I said, I don't find value in the way that the voice rooms really work. I think there should be another way to do that where, I don't know, the microphones should be only activated by the host,
Yeah.
not by just anybody, right? Yeah. But I still prefer
Well-
being able to see, because then I feel like I'm actually making a connection when I can see you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you are in front of the table.
Yeah, right.
Sitting
Yeah, especially
close to
when
me.
I love that you just called me from the restaurant, because that, like I know that background.
I'm here.
I know that table.
Here.
It's like yeah, it's like I've been there, and so that feels good. That's a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
your second house,
I know it feels like it's years ago already, though. Yeah.
Yeah, when you tell it was a few months, and I said, "Oh my God, I feel like it's been
Yeah.
ages."
Yeah, I know. Right. But it's been what, six months, something like that?
Yeah.
Something like
Well,
that. Yeah.
we will
Anyway.
have another opportunity. Don't worry to see
Yeah.
you.
Well, tell
Yeah.
Adriana congratulations for me. Give her a big hug for me, and
Thank you very much, Mark,
just
for having me.
tell her that if she ever wants to chat about
Yeah.
anything, or wants to ask me a question about English or something, then she can. All right, just put
Thank you very
put
much,
the
Mark.
put the food on the table, but just walk away.
Yeah.
Let her
Yeah.
come to the food. Let her eat it if she wants it.
And she's getting better in temper.
Oh,
No,
that's
she's
good. I'm
quiet
glad.
just a little bit.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I have to go to
All
pick
right.
them
Yeah. All right.
at
Well,
the school. Thank you very much. I
it was
hope you
great to
are
see you
okay.
again. Yeah,
Anytime you can
I'm
write me.
fine.
Tell your parents all my regards and a big hug for them,
I
please,
will.
and your
Yeah.
family.
I will. Yeah, they'll say hi to you too, and yeah, we need to get maybe another call with Gunter and see if we
Yeah,
can do another
anytime.
call. That would be great. All right,
Anytime.
big hug. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Oh, let's see. Naria wants to come chat. Okay.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, Naria. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm good.
Good.
In a place where I'm doing my internship right now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
An internship in what?
In my major, aquaculture.
Oh,
Aquaculture.
aquaculture. Well, that's interesting. Okay. So you grow plants in water, and does that include?
No. It's about fish. Most about fish.
Right. So like fish and plants together. Yeah. Or no?
No.
Just fish.
Just race to feed the fish.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I thought aquaculture was like the combination of the two. There are some farms now here in America that are trying to do that, where they have fish and food growing at the same time. You know?
Oh, I see. I know that system.
Yeah.
That kind of pattern. The plants are grown here with in the water is to absorb the how to say the actual elements. What that I don't know how
Nutrients,
to
maybe?
explain. Yeah. The actual nutrients
Yeah.
in the water.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Do you like your work?
To be honest, not quite. I don't like it,
Yeah. Why not?
and that's why um it's hard to explain. I just don't like this job,
Hmm.
this career. So that's why I'm thinking about moving to another country to
Hmm.
opening a new page.
So, is the problem the career or is the problem that particular job? Like, what I mean is, like, for example, when you're a musician, sometimes you play with one band for a long time and you get tired of that. Maybe you just need a new band. Or you play one music for a long time and you get tired of that. Maybe you just need new music. Or maybe you don't even do it a long time. You're just with the wrong people. And if you're not with the right people, then you won't feel like you're making the right music, right? So, I guess what I'm saying is sometimes the knowledge you have is good, but you need to figure out how you could do something with that differently than you are right now, right? So, for example, again, I love being a musician and I love music, but I have taken my musical knowledge and now used that for a new purpose in language learning. And so now it's still music to me, but I've applied it in a completely different field, you know? So I didn't start something completely new.
I see.
I did something that's still based on the knowledge that I already acquired. And that way, the thing is, if you're always learning something new and you're not building on what you already learned, then you can't gain wisdom. Right? Wisdom comes with knowledge and time. But if you're learning, like if you read one page from one book one day and another page from another book another day and another page from another book, you'll never really learn anything that way. Right? You have to learn and read the one book and finish it, and then read the next book and finish it, and then read the next book. That's knowledge over time. When you do it that way, you get wisdom. But a lot of people just So what I'm saying is I recognize I have changed careers. I used to be a full-time musician, and then I became an ESL teacher. Completely different job, I recognize that it's also not very common in China and Asia, and especially, to change careers or to try to start something new. Like in China and Asia in general, most people, you graduate, you get your degree, you go into a field, and that's it. That's the field you're in now, and that's the field you're going to stay in. But it's and it used to be that way in the United States too. But now I think we've learned that sometimes it's good to change fields. Like my sister she's a trained nurse, but she got tired of that job and she decided to go back to school. She went to get a degree in culinary arts, so she's also a pastry chef. Completely different job, I'm not saying you shouldn't try to find a completely different thing. Maybe you should, but be creative.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe you should think about the knowledge that you've gained and try to think outside the box of how you could use that knowledge in a different field. And sometimes that's what gives you the edge, right? So why do I have an advantage over many, many, many teachers? Because my background as a musician means that all of my answers that I give about English are completely different than any other answers that you get from other teachers. So that means that lots of people come to me because they think it's something different, right? So again, maybe you take aquaculture and you try to say like, well, what could I do with aquaculture? Outside of the box, what could I do with aquaculture? Could it be involved in a restaurant? Could it be involved in a farm? Could it be involved in a some other kind of a business of some sort, How can you take your knowledge and apply it in some new way?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about that. Sometimes what you do, and add the value and give you a new perspective of doing that. I think that's, and it can also apply to many fields.
Of course.
Like either learning or choosing learning stuff or choosing career.
Yeah, how old are you? What are you, 20, 25, 26?
24.
24.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still young. So I will also tell you that it's totally also okay if you want to do something completely different, totally fine, because you're young. So you could start something right now and become a master in it. Some people think, oh, I'm too old. I can't do that. I can't be a musician. I'm 24. Yeah, you could. You'd have to really dedicate yourself and you'd have to really work on it, but you can, So, yeah, it's a good time for you, Take what you've learned and then see what you can do with it. Do you have any ideas of what you want to do? What you might want to do?
I may consider applying to be like what you said, trainers, like with your sister.
Ah,
Your
okay,
sister did
okay.
in New Zealand.
So,
Here's what I think. I'm currently, just spend most of my time except doing the job required during the internship.
hmm
I spend some spare time preparing for the IELTS exam,
mm,
and then use it to apply. And it's maybe it's not going to be successful to apply a WHV in New Zealand
mm.
to work there for 12 months, try to save some money,
Mm.
and then use the money I already have and the money I earn there to, to study further, apply a graduate school.
So you want to study what there?
I'm sorry.
You
Pardon?
want to study what?
Study nurse.
Nursing. Okay.
Nursing.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
nursing.
Yeah. Well, guess what? That is a great career. That is a great career to choose. All over the world, there's a shortage of nurses. That's a job that you can, if you decide you want to become a nurse, you will have a job. You will not have trouble finding a job as a nurse. So that's good. You could try that.
I think it's also about immigration, because this career, if I choose this career, it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's again because there's such a need for nurses. Yeah, we will hire you from another country and give you, a green card because we need nurses. And the pay here is much better than the pay in many countries for nursing. So my ex-girlfriend many years ago was a nurse, and she was talking about maybe coming to the U.S. at some point. And yeah, the pay is much better. Yeah. So anyway, well, that's possible. You know what I was also just thinking of is, so you work in aquaculture, so you're really good at, about what is needed for fish and for shellfish and things like that, right? So one thing I've always noticed about China has a lot of restaurants that have live fish, right? They have like these big tanks, right, with the fish, and you can choose the fish, right? I love those restaurants. I miss those restaurants. When I lived in Taiwan, especially when I would go to Taipei, they had a bunch of these great seafood restaurants where you go in and they just have all these tanks full of fish and every kind of fish, and you can just choose what you want to eat and say, I want one of those and want one of those. But I feel like the way they do it is still really, really archaic. It's still very old school. They're just using these dirty fish tanks, that are not very clean and they're not well taken care of, and the fish are probably not very healthy because of it. So there's an opportunity there, I think, because how many restaurants are there in Asia that use live fish tanks? And when's the last time that they did anything to try to improve that system? A long time. They haven't done that for a long time. And the visual aspect of being able to see them and choose the fish that you want, that's something that could be done too. I'm an idea guy, Nario. So like when you tell me I'm an aquaculture person, for example, there's a grocery store in my city. Well, we have a few Asian markets and grocery stores where they have live fish in tanks and everything. But to be honest, every time I see them, I just think those tanks look so dirty. I just think, yeah, like that looks like something that was built in 1966. And that can't be good. That can't be
worse.
Yeah,
I haven't
right.
seen bread in my hometown.
Yeah,
You know?
right. I'm sure that some of them are probably really, really old, and yeah, and again, that seems like that's a big part of culture there. You know, there's a live seafood at the restaurants where you can get fresh seafood, but that seems like an area that hasn't been improved very much. Maybe I'm
And
wrong.
not just seafood. You know, like the poultry,
Yeah, right.
chicken.
Sure. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Last minute, he was strolling. The next minute,
yeah. That's right. They
the
chop your
plastic.
head off. That's right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, but I was just trying to apply your knowledge, you know, since you're in aquaculture, you know, that
Actually, I haven't graduated. I haven't graduated. It was my
so
third year.
knowledge is knowledge. The degree is just a piece of paper. So if you have the knowledge, you have the knowledge. Then you still can do something with that knowledge. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm giving you that little seed of an idea, and for the next few years, I want you to think about this. Every time you go to see one of those restaurants, when you're walking down the street, I want you to think about it. I want you to look at that restaurant and be like, "Yeah, he's right. Those tanks look really old, and that can't be a good system. And if the purpose of having fresh fish, you want fresh fish, you want healthy, fresh fish, it should look like a healthy system. You know, it should look, they shouldn't look like they're dirty tanks that the fish are living in. Small, dirty tanks, you know? So yeah, anyway, just an idea. Next time you're walking around, I want you to think about it. And who knows, maybe you can revolutionize the Chinese aquaculture fish fresh fish restaurant industry.
Thank you for the spark.
Yeah,
For,
you know, that's the funny thing about my mind is that's how it works. Like I'll just be walking down the street and I'll see something and be like, I wonder why they don't do something with that. Why don't they do something more? And it might be something I know nothing about. You know, a topic I don't know anything about. But then I'll explore it. I'll do a search online and I'll try to find out, well, why don't they do something more? Or is there a good reason? You know? And again, that's one reason I love ChatGPT. Because then I can ask ChatGPT, like, why are these fish restaurants using these old tanks and why haven't they done anything new? And is there anything new that could be done? I love to explore ideas of like technological improvements or philosophical improvements, you know, different ways of looking at things. Yeah. And
Yeah,
AI's fun for that.
I like using ChatGPT too, and a lot other apps like Gemini and Grok, something like that. If you really have the question that you came up from observing
Yeah.
things in your life, and you will get a really good answer, and you will remember it, and you know how to use it. And
Yeah.
that's I think that's one of the correct way to use AI.
Yeah,
Not
you know,
just
actually, I was thinking about recently, just the last week or so, I was thinking about that maybe I might try to publish a book, just a book of some of the questions that I've asked ChatGPT and its answers, because that's one of the interesting things about ChatGPT is everybody who uses it differently, right? And so some people use it really, really well. Some people know how to use it and they know how to use it brilliantly. And some people, they ask it stupid questions. You know, like they really don't know how to use it well. And they think it's not that good because the AI is just a tool. And tools are only as good as the user. So if I have a hammer and I give that hammer to a baby, the baby's going to destroy my house. But if I give that same hammer to a carpenter, he can build me a beautiful bookcase, right? So it's all about so the tool is only as good as the user, right? And so if you ask AI the right questions, then yeah, it can give you brilliant answers. And so I do like to ask it really deep, crazy questions. And So I was thinking that might be fun, just print out a book of questions that most people would never think to ask, and then see what AI answers. I think that there are a lot of questions that people have decided that they can't ask because nobody has the patience to want to answer them. But now we have AI, and AI has unlimited patience. So you can ask it these questions that you want to ask, but you wouldn't ask a person because you'd be afraid to annoy them. Right? And I have lots of questions like that. Deep questions, philosophical questions about the world and the future and the way things work and economics and philosophy and politics and all these things. I love to ask it those questions and then see what the answers are and explore it. I'll keep pressing it and keep saying, but what about this? And but what about that? And so, yeah, I thought maybe that'd be fun just to print a book of this is what this guy wanted to know. Like Mark wanted to know about this. You were asking, why do people pick their nose? He was asking, questions about, could we have a world without economy? Could we have a world without economics as we know it? Or what would aliens think if they came to this world and saw us? How would they react or whatever? I like to ask it questions. And one great reason why I like to ask it questions is because it is not a human. And so its answers are all based on human data, but the way it answers questions is not anthropomorphic. Which anthropomorphic, it's a word that means like an animal, like a human. Sorry. So, for example, like we treat dogs like pets. Sometimes we treat them anthropomorphically. We talk about what they like and what they don't like they're humans. And they do have personalities, but they're not human, right? And so what I mean is, when you ask questions to ChatGPT, it doesn't always answer from the standpoint of a human. It answers from the standpoint of the data. And that's important because humans do have bias. But its only bias is bias based on the data and the way you present the questions, which is important because it does want to make you happy. It's a people pleaser. All AI has been trained to be very positive all the time, which can be misleading. But you just have to be very critical. If you're hypercritical, then it doesn't matter how positive it is. You still want to find out if it's really true or not. You'll push further. Yeah.
I personally don't have that curiosity or enthusiasm like you. I don't. I'm not interested in many things. If I'm not interested in them, even though the ChatGPT or other AI gave me the answer, it's not going to be lasting in my mind.
Yeah.
And I think your character, your desire want to know things, it's really precious. It's really precious.
I just think that some people, when you're a child, you have that fire, that spark that wants to ask questions all the time. But then you grow up and you find out that not everybody wants to hear your questions, not everybody wants to answer your questions, and that we have to be busy. We have to be busy doing stuff, so there's no time for your questions. So I think most people, that fire, that spark, dies. And then, it fades, it dies, and they stop asking questions. They stop being curious. And that is one of the greatest tragedies in humanity. Because one of humans' greatest value is in our curiosity, our want to know more. So if you're an incurious person, that's a very, to me, that's one of the most tragic things. An incurious person, a person who's not curious about wanting to know more, that's one of the most tragic things in life. But yeah,
My perspective is somewhat similar to you. I'm a Christian, and from a standpoint of Christian, so the ability or the desire to know thing, to figure out thing, is from that one, and you have to really to how how to say that to make it stand out or to use it.
I'll tell you
utilize
what.
it.
There's a guy I want you to check out on YouTube. Since you said you're a Christian, his name is Dan McClellan. Let me make sure I spell his name correctly. Yeah, here it is. McClellan. Dan McClellan. He is a biblical scholar.
Biblical scholar.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, he let me just tell you a little background. So I'm not Christian anymore, but I was raised Christian, right? So I grew up that way.
I know.
And my father, we talked about this before. My father was actually going to be a priest before he changed his mind and decided to become a psychologist. My uncle was a priest, a Catholic priest, right? So I grew up with it, and I know it, and I did study it a lot. I love this guy, Dan McClellan.
Mm-hmm.
He might be one of the smartest people I've ever seen on the internet. And he is most definitely, I have never seen anyone as knowledgeable as him about the Bible. Never seen anyone as knowledgeable. And he is more of a scientist than I have ever seen in my lifetime. And what I mean by that is every answer he gives is only based on the data. He doesn't give anything based on dogma or feelings. It's all based on the data. And even if that data disagrees with him, even if that data disagrees with something in the Christian church or the Christian value system, he looks at the data only. And a lot of his videos are him, somebody will say, well, the Bible says this and it means this. And he'll say, no, you didn't study it like I studied it. Let me explain to you what it really means. This guy has like a couple of master's degrees and a PhD in religious studies and everything. He speaks several different languages, including ancient languages like Aramaic and Greek. It's insane how much he knows. It's really, really amazing. And sometimes I'm not even a very religious guy, but I love to watch his videos because of how brilliant he is as an arguer. His knowledge is incredible. It really is amazing, because you can tell he has really studied a lot. He knows the answers. And when he answers everything, he answers in a very, very dispassionate way. So when I speak, I'm very animated, right? But when he speaks, he's like very, no, I'm sorry, but that's not what it means. It just means this. He speaks very, very calmly and dispassionately. Not angry, not mad, not happy, not upset, not excited. He just has the data. That's it. It's very calming. It's very calming. So anybody, if you're looking for somebody interesting on the internet just to see, he's a really interesting guy. He's a very interesting guy. And he is definitely the most knowledgeable biblical scholar I have ever seen in my life. And I have learned quite a bit from watching him, actually. So check him out. Check him out, because he's really brilliant. He's really brilliant. And some of his videos explain things really, really, really well. My nephew has a Bible study at his college that they go to or whatever. And I just recommended this guy to them. I said, like, look, if you guys are doing Bible study, you guys need to check out this guy, Dan McClellan, because, man, his answers are just scientifically brilliant. Scientifically brilliant. The way he explains things and the way that the background and the knowledge that he has to be able to tell you what things really are and what they really aren't. It's really amazing. Yeah. So check him out.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know what you think.
And before I leave, and I want to say thank you for all you did. You know, the countless live stream and the voice rooms and posts, and I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You know,
Sometimes when I went into your live stream or live stream, I can see sometimes that you are a little bit tired. You know, to do the repetitive job. You know,
yeah.
can understand, and so
Yeah.
I sometimes, how to say that, want to give you an air hug or something.
I appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes that's what you need, you know? That was one of the things I loved about being a teacher in Taiwan was even when you have a terrible day, when you wake up and you feel like, oh, this is not a good day, I would go to school and I would walk into my classroom and I would get a group hug from 20 kids. You know, it's like the first thing that you get is Teacher Mark, and you get a big group hug from. Yeah, it's like you can't be in a bad mood when 20 kids are happy to see you. You cannot be in a bad mood. So that was one thing I loved about teaching kids when I was teaching over there was that. Even when I had a bad day and I woke up not feeling good, not feeling happy, not feeling well, feeling depressed or whatever, you as soon as you walk in that classroom, it just falls off of you because 20 kids are happy to see you.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Because I was a Sunday school teacher.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I love children. And you know, I went. The reason I want to go to New Zealand was influenced by a family from my Bible study group, and their whole family went to New Zealand, and I have a great relationship with two kids of the family. The boy is Joshua, the girl is Joyce, and they're really young kid, adorable, and I taught them in the Sunday school teacher. I have lunch, I have
That's
dinners
great.
in their house. So I spend so many time with them.
That's
And,
good.
Yeah, that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's how to say sensible to choose to go to another country just because of a family. That's what it is.
I think it's as sensible as any other reason. I mean, to be honest with you, moving to another country is a big decision. Traveling is one thing, moving is another thing. And not everybody is prepared for it. Not everybody is prepared for it. The first 6 months when you move to a new country, those are the most difficult months because those are the months when you have culture shock, and those are the months when you really you struggle to figure out if you can fit in or not, if you can hack it, you know, or not. But if you can make it past the first 6 months, especially the first year, after that, then you're fine, you know. But I moved to Taiwan because I had a friend there. I was born, here, and I studied here, and I was working here as a musician. But then I got burnt out, right? And I wanted to do something different. And I happened to talk to my friend. He was living in Taipei, and he said, "Hey, come over here. You can sleep on my couch. I'll get you a job at the Bushiban, teaching kindergarten, and you can try something different." And I did, and it was great. And so, like I said, I think that whatever reason you have is fine.
How many
go
years
try.
have you spent in Taipei?
I was in Taiwan for about 4.5 years.
Oh,
Yeah, from
That's a really long
2016 to 2020. right before COVID happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but I highly recommend it. I think it's a really wonderful experience. I think it's a really good experience. I wish everybody could move to another country, even for just a short time, for a year or two. I think it's a highly valuable experience to be the minority. You know, like I'm in America now. I'm white. I'm the majority, right? But when I went to Taiwan, suddenly I'm not the majority anymore. You know, like I'm a minority, right? I have to follow their culture. I have to learn what they do. I have to do it the way they do, right? So it's a really good experience for anybody to go to another country and humble yourself and understand that you're a guest and that you have to find out how they do it and do it the way they do it. That's a very good experience for anyone. And New Zealand's beautiful. I've never been there, but I have some friends from there, and it's a place I've always wanted to go because of how vastly beautiful it is. You know, that's the reason the Lord of the Rings movies.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they shot those movies there for one reason. Because that's the one place you can go on Earth where you can find so many crazy, beautiful environments in one small place. You know, they have mountains with snow, and they have beaches with, you know, beautiful sand, and they have fields. And I mean, it's just amazing how many beautiful environments they have there. So go, you know. And if
Especially
you don't.
the Southern Lines.
Yeah.
Southern Islands.
And if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. It's a good experience. You know?
Yes.
Go check out Anthony Bourdain. You know Anthony Bourdain? Anthony Bourdain is he was an American chef, and he also had many, many, many travel TV shows. And he was a writer. He wrote books as well. And he has many travel shows about traveling in the world and experiencing new cultures and things. But one of the reasons I love him is because he encourages people to travel and go live someplace, because you'll learn so much about this world if you travel. You know, Mark Twain has one of my favorite quotes about travel. He said, travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. And then he said, broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. So basically what that means is, if you stay in your tiny little town and you're born there and you never travel anywhere, the chances of you developing charitable, broad, wholesome views of the world is very small. Because you don't know the world. You only know your little bubble. You know? So that's why travel is such a wonderful thing to do. It's travel is education.
Yeah.
Yeah. So especially at your
I'm more
age,
excited for it.
at your age, that would be one of the biggest things that if I could go back and talk to me, 25-year-old me, that would be the number one thing I would tell myself is, Mark, get out.
Yeah.
Go travel, man. Get out. That was the best thing that when I got to Taiwan and I lived there, I finally felt worldly. I had always felt worldly as a person, but I had never been a world traveler. But then once I moved to another place and I traveled around and I saw things, now I finally felt worldly, and that feels very different. So, yeah, go do it. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Many Chinese people around my age, they are deeply influenced by the root of their culture. People tell them, your age you should get married, you should save money to buy, buy a house or buy a car, and that is gonna consume you.
Yeah.
And lock you for decades. You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing about Chinese culture is based on what 6,000 years, and that means that you've got traditions that are much longer, right? I've talked about this before, that there's one very obvious reason why Americans and Chinese people, we are different about tradition. We have traditions in America, but we're willing to break them. We're willing to adjust them. We're willing to change them. And the reason why is very simple. We're not very old. None of our traditions are that old. So when they're not that old, it's like, oh, well, okay, we can change. That's one reason. And then the second reason is because we are a multicultural country that if you come here and you have a new way to do things that is better than the way we like, great. So whatever new way you have, we want to know about it. We want to incorporate that into our. So that means that we're constantly adjusting our traditions and changing and adapting and assimilating, right? So that's the only thing about Chinese culture is it's a little rigid. It's a little bit rigid because of the traditions and the sense of tradition. But Chinese people need to remember one very important thing. There is only one constant in life. That constant is change. Change is the only constant in life. Change will always happen. So that's the problem with tradition. Tradition, it assumes that things shouldn't change. We keep doing them the way that we did before. So, for example, when I lived in Taiwan and the school I worked at, the first year I was there, I came in and I was like, we need to change this, we need to change that, we need to change this, we need to change that. And they said, whoa, 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 no, this is the way we've been doing it. No, this is the way I did it, the way my parents did it, the way my grandparents did it. So we're not changing anything. But all the data says you should. We know more now. We know that this way works better now, so you should change. But but we can't change because of tradition. This is the way we've done it before, right? So that was a good thing for me to learn about the differences in Asian culture, specifically Chinese culture, and American culture. Is traditions are much easier for us to break because our traditions are not that old, and because we mix traditions all the time. So that means we're not so serious about keeping things one way. But when your traditions are 6,000 years old, it's much harder to convince people to change. But again, like I said, that's the paradox of change. Change is the only thing that is constant in life. Change will always happen.
Change that is the only thing that is unchangeable.
That's right. That's the only thing that exists forever is change. And that's why humans have survived, because we adapt. So tradition also kind of goes against evolution, because evolution insists that you must adapt. You have to adapt and change. That's what evolution is. It's adaptation to changes. Right? And so tradition can be great, but traditions should always be considered and reconsidered to see, does this tradition still have the same value that it did 1,000 years ago? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
Question.
Yeah.
I think we must have the bravery. How to say that? Bravery?
Yeah, that's right.
To question the thing that we take for granted.
That's right.
The thing
Yeah,
that we think they're supposed to be.
that's right. Yeah.
Many times that's not. Yeah.
That's right. Well, that's right. Change takes bravery, and questions take bravery. You have to be brave to be able to ask a question. And that was another thing I learned that was different. Like in America, if you teach a class in America and you say, class, what is this? And blah, 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 blah. The kids will raise their hand like, I want to answer, I want to answer, I want to answer. But in Taiwan, when I would ask a question, here's what would happen. I would ask the question, and you would look around the room, and there would be, all the kids would be looking like this. Like, who's going to answer? Like, nobody wanted to be the first one to put their hand up and say, I think I know. Like, they were afraid to be the first one. They were afraid to be wrong, and they're afraid to challenge anything.
Same in China. It's the same in the mainland.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so that they do this. They look like, is anybody else going to answer? Before they put their hand up, you know, they're not excited to answer. They're afraid to answer.
Yeah, and I also watched the video a few days ago. I don't know what I can learn from that. You know, it told me if you paint a circle, if you ask this what it is to children from America, United States, they will probably tell you it's a apple or an egg or something that resembles it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask a Chinese student, they will only say it's a zero.
Right.
It's rigid. It's not.
Yeah. I remember when the first year I was teaching kindergarten. I was teaching kindergarten for the first year. This was 2009. And these kids were coloring. They're coloring in coloring books, right? And this little girl, she colored a dolphin purple, and she used a purple crayon. And the teacher walked by, and she said, "No, that is wrong. Dolphins are not purple. Dolphins are gray." And I was like, wait a minute. That is something that would never, ever happen in an American kindergarten. You would never tell the child, that's wrong. No, it's creative. It's not wrong. It's different. You know, it's just, we would say, oh, that's a pretty purple dolphin. I like that purple dolphin. Tell me more about that purple dolphin. We wouldn't turn it into a right and wrong. Coloring is not right or wrong. Coloring is just coloring.
You know, that's what I experienced, you know, from a young age. You
Yeah.
know, only about negative things. It's never affirmation. It's going to happen, but not many. Most of the time, negative things.
Yeah, but again, it's also a cultural difference. It's a cultural difference. You know, I remember another time when I was hanging out with my friend Blake. He's Taiwanese, right? And I would go over to his house sometimes and have dinner and drinks, and we'd hang out and chat. And one time I was over there, and my father called me on a video call. And I'm talking to my father for a few minutes, and he said hello to everybody in the room. And when we were hanging up, my father said, "Okay, I'll talk to you next time. I love you. See you." And I said, "I love you too. Bye." And when I hung up the phone, my friend Blake, he looked at his 13-year-old son and he said, "Why don't you ever say I love you to me?" and we talked about it for a few minutes, and because again, it's a very big difference in Chinese culture versus American culture. In my family, we say I love you all the time. We say it often. In America, sometimes we think, look, I might not be here tomorrow. Tomorrow I could be hit by a car, you know, and now I'm gone. So we want to say I love you today because we're afraid there won't be a tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
But in China, it's different. It's not that they don't love each other. They love each other just as much. But one, you show your love. You don't say it. You show it by doing something, right? So it's the way you act that matters most. And then two, I think they think if you say it too much, it devalues it.
Yeah.
But we don't feel that way. We feel that it doesn't devalue it when you say it. If I talk to my sister, I say I love you. If I talk to my dad or my brother, I say I love you, you know? Because again, I think for us, we look at it like I would rather say it than not say it.
In China, if you know the same expression, if you say too many times, they will think you are being.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who also believe, like Americans, they think that we're kind of fake because we say please and thank you and oh, that's so great and we're so positive so much. But no, that's just manners. We were raised to be that way. We were raised to always say please and thank you and yes, yes, sir, no, sir, those kinds of things. But again, I had to learn that some people thought that was fake, that it feels fake. It's not fake. It's genuine. It's real. Like, for example, in English, we say, how are you? But in Chinese, like when I first learned Chinese, I would say, ni hao ma. But you guys don't really say ni hao ma. You say ni hao ma only when someone really has a problem, right? If there's really a problem, then maybe you'll say ni hao ma. But usually, you just say ni hao and gao shi ren shi ni, right? Like just something like hello, nice to meet you, right? But in English, we say hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? And there are many people who feel like, why are you asking me how I am? Like that's weird, you know? But how are you is part of the greeting in English. So here's the rule about how are you. In English, if someone says how are you at the beginning, then it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a way to say hello. It's a nice way to just try to be pleasant. Okay? It's what we call pleasantries. Pleasantries means hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. Those are pleasantries. But if you say how are you in the middle of a conversation, now we really want to know how are you? Are you okay or not? Right? So when I say, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. You say, oh, I'm good, fine. Nice to meet you too. Doesn't really mean anything. But if we're talking for 10 minutes and then I look at you and I say, Mario, how are you? Are you okay? Now I really want to know. Yeah, are you okay or not? So how are you is weird that way. And again, like I said, it's different in China. They don't just ask, how are you all the time? What do they ask that's different? 你吃了吗? they say, have you eaten? Have you eaten already? That's different. It's cultural. Like I said, these are things that you can't learn in a book. I learned these because I moved to another culture, and I had to learn about the differences between that culture and mine. And those are wonderful things to learn. Yeah.
I would prefer use long time no see, translated in Chinese 好久不见,
Yeah.
as my go-to greeting. I don't really use have you eaten that much.
Yeah. Not too many people use it anymore, I think. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, 好久不见 is another good one, right? But again, it's one of those things. 好久不见 is also not. You don't really want to know. Like, how 久不见? Oh, yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, nice to see you. But you don't really want to know, like, oh, long time no see, and then what's been happening, right? It's similar to how are you. It doesn't really have, it's just part of the greeting. It's just a greeting. And again, in English, we say long time no see also. But if I say it, maybe I saw my friend yesterday and now I see him today. It's, oh, long time no see. That's like a joke. Because I just saw him yesterday. So it's not a long time, But if I really haven't seen somebody in 20 years and I say, oh, long time no see, now it has different value. It's like, oh, give me a hug. It's really been a long time. Anyway. Culture. The things that you can learn.
Culture is really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I've always thinking about traveling. I have friends from Philippines. They've invited me to go there a few times.
I highly recommend it. I love the Philippines. I spent a couple weeks there. I went to Cebu, which was beautiful. And I was in Manila for a while. And I'll tell you, there's one great reason to go to the Philippines. The food. Oh my
Mm.
God, the food is so delicious. Just so many yummy foods. Yeah, I miss good Filipino food is really, really amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Yeah. And people were really nice. People were really nice. You know, it's an interesting country because I would say it felt like maybe at least half of the people spoke some English. Some of them spoke a lot of English.
They
You know?
speak really good English.
Yeah, some of them.
Overall.
Yeah, some of them speak English as good as any American. You know, one of my friends is married to a Filipina girl. She's an English teacher.
Not as good as American, but still.
Some
you
of
know,
them really are.
I heard some people say I heard some people from Hong Kong. You know, they're like they hire people from Philippine women to do the how to say that, nanny, or to clean up,
Yeah.
and meanwhile they can speak
English, yeah,
fine
it's
English.
double whammy. We call that a double whammy, which means you're getting two for the price of one. You're getting a nanny, but you're also getting an English teacher because they speak great English. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's Philip.
Yeah.
I really love the culture of the Philippines. They're really nice.
They
Even
really
though
are.
I haven't been there. Just from the chatting I had with my friends, and they invited me to go there. Someone even said to cover the cost for
Oh
me.
wow.
Some,
Well, like I said, I highly recommend it. I met some amazing people when I was there. It's if you speak English, it's a very easy country to travel to in Asia. You know, like if you're an American and you're asking me what country should I travel to in Asia, that would be easy for me. The Philippines, number one, because like I said, they speak English. A lot of them speak English, so it's just easy. It's not hard to figure out anything there, you know, and it's cheap. It's cheap and yeah, like I said,
cheap. Everything is cheap.
Yeah.
Even for Chinese.
yeah, right, yeah.
And what did I want to say? It just slipped my mind. Um, that's I think that is the most important reason. One of the most important reason I learned English. I keep learning English. Um, you know, um, learning English is not like uh, a thing you can do in a few weeks. I've been doing it for a few years, and sometimes I felt tired and boring to do it. I felt less committed. Sometimes I just want to waste my time watching videos that are not English. Sometimes it drives me crazy. But when I think maybe in the future one day I could travel to the country um, without using translator.
Yeah,
I can apply the form. I can watch the TV series without subtitle, or many things, and it just drove me just
well,
just
here's what I will tell you. Learning a language is just like learning a musical instrument.
musical instrument.
Yeah, when you learn a musical instrument, there are two kinds of people. There are some people who say, oh, well, I played piano for a year, or I played piano for 3 years. And then there are other people who say, I play piano. And what that means is some people think music is something that you study for just 1 year or 2 years and that's it. Other people look at music and they think this is something that you start and then you never finish.
Yeah,
So, for example, Yo-Yo Ma. Yo-Yo Ma is the most Ma Yo-Yo. He's the most famous cellist, Chinese cellist in the world. He plays the cello, and he's the greatest. And even though he's the best, every day he still wakes up trying to be better. And the reason why is because there is no finish. When you learn music, there's no finish line. There's never a finish line. And the same thing is true with language. There is no finish line. There is no ending point. Music and language are very similar. When I play music, every day I try to learn how to be more musical. And musical, what does that word mean? It means it sounds good to the ears. When you hear it, it sounds like music, sounds good to the ears. Language can be musical too. So when you learn a language, you're learning music. And when you learn music, you're never done.
Yeah, it reminds me of an English saying, something, I don't know, what is it? Something is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right. Yeah. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Right. Yeah. That's right. And that's you just have to remember that it's something that you just continue to try to work on every day, and it's more, consider it part of your personality, not a skill. If you think about it like a skill, then you're trying to figure out how you can finish. When you think about it as part of your personality, you can't finish your personality. You just keep developing your personality.
You can quit because that's part of you.
That's right. That's right. You can't quit. So
But
when
I think about it as, like a test, like a competition, something like that, I really think about quitting because there are many times I'm not happy.
Yeah, I
don't
know.
see
Well,
real
competition
improvement.
doesn't always. Competition can be a valuable thing, but it also can be a very negative thing. And you're right. So here's what I will tell you: is that you should compete, but you should compete with yourself. Right. So that's what we always say is.
That's
I'm only
really
trying to be better
thing.
than the person I was yesterday. Whoever I was yesterday, I'm trying to be better than that today. That's the only competition that you can really do, is to compete with yourself, right? But competition, it's funny. The word competition originally comes from a Latin word or a Greek word, I can't remember. I think it's Latin. It means to strive together.
To strive, STIVE.
Yeah.
That's strive.
Yeah, to strive together. And that's funny because that's not what competition means anymore. Competition, when we think about competition now, we think it means to strive against others. Right?
Yeah,
We're trying to
better
compete,
than
like to
others.
be better than them. But the original meaning of the word compete was to work together, to strive to do something together. So it was a race, but it was a race of people together. We're all trying to do something together, right?
Etymology is interesting. It gives you wisdom.
Yeah, it can. It really can. It can give you perspective on words that you didn't think about. Like, I also love to think about the word business. What does business mean? Business means busyness.
Busyness.
So it means, what are you busy doing? That's your business. But I think it's important because I want you to think about whatever business you do. If you're in the clothing business, or you're in the teaching business, or you're in the finance business, I want you to think about the word business, because the word business means what you are busy with every day. And I think that's important because it means there are some people who are busy doing things that help people, and there are some people who are busy doing things that don't help anyone but themselves.
Right. Yes. That's right.
So when people ask, what's your business? You should think about, what do I spend my time being busy doing? and what is truly valuable to be busy at. Not everything is valuable, but business thinks business is just about making money. To me, business is not just about making money. Business is about how do you spend your time, and are you spending your time in positive, valuable ways? Are you being busy in a good way? Or you can be busy, that's great, you're busy, that's wonderful, but busy doesn't mean positive. There are lots of businesses that are not good. You know? So they're busy, they're very busy doing bad things. They're making money, sure, but they're not doing it in a way that's helping anything. You know? So, yeah, words are things that we take for granted all the time. And etymology is one of those things that sometimes can make you look at a word and say, oh, well, that is interesting. That is not what it really means, is it? In business. The things that you're busy doing. You know? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I need to let you go because it's about time for me to go get some lunch. But it was really great to see you again. And thank you. I want to say thank you to you, Narya, because, again, sometimes, you know, just yesterday I wrote a poem. Let me see. Here's my poem, everybody. Sometimes you forget why. You forget why the breeze feels good on your face. You forget why the sunsets are breathtakingly beautiful. You forget why the music is magnificently melodious. You forget why foods are delightfully delicious. You forget why nature is amazingly awe-inspiring. You forget why you love what you love. Sometimes you forget why. And that's what sometimes we forget why. Words are things we take for granted. Business is that's something we take for granted. The actions we do, if you do them every day and you don't consider what you're doing, you're taking them for granted. And so, like I said, for me, sometimes I feel like I'm pushing dirt, but I don't know why. You know, like, what's the purpose behind pushing this dirt? It needs to feel guided. It needs to feel purposeful. And when I connect with people like you and my followers who I see all the time, it feels purposeful. I feel like I'm doing what I want to do, what my goal, when I make connections with people. When I just answer questions, I don't feel like I'm doing anything of any real value. You know, when people come and say, what's the difference between this word and that word? You know, like, okay, I answered your question, that's great. But I like to make connections with people, and when I see you all the time, when I see you in the chat, and I see you typing, and I see you show up, that is very, very, very valuable to me.
Okay. Is the title of the poem why?
I didn't really have a title, but sometimes you forget why. That's the title. I'll post it. I'll post it on my moments later.
It's
I'll
a beautiful poem. And,
yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I don't write poetry very often, but sometimes something hits me. And yesterday I just felt like that's what I've been struggling with, is sometimes we forget why. You know that the sunset is beautiful, but you forget why. You forget why is it beautiful. You know that the wind feels good on your face, but you forget why. And that's important. You know, and sometimes you forget, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why? And that's, if you don't have a why, it's hard to have a how. You know?
True. That's true. And to find your purpose, and for me to find my purpose, and I think another important thing is to know yourself, to review.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's another thing away. Is sometimes you need to stop and give yourself time to be able to look. So that's why I needed a break to stop doing everything so I could think and consider, what am I doing? You know, yeah, you need to have time to think about whether what you're doing is valuable, you know, whether it's what you really want or not, you know. So
Okay.
anyway, thank you,
I'm
Dario.
not gonna linger. I wasted you so many.
No, not a minute was wasted. Not a second was wasted. Any time that's connected time is not wasted time. Any time that's connected time, it's not wasted time. So thank you for that connection. I appreciate it, Dario, because that's really what I needed. I needed more connection. Sometimes people are just taking too much sand from the beach, and I just feel like there's no sand left, you know? So, all right, I'll post my poem a little bit after lunch, but thank you for coming to talk with me, and it was a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. I look forward to it.
See you next time.
All right,
Bye.
take care, my friend.
Have a nice rest of your day.
All right, and it's time for me to go and get something to eat and take a break and go maybe do some work. So hello, Mohammed. Thank you for coming, but I'm just about to go right now. But you can come back and see me again. I might be here tomorrow. I'll try to post my new schedule soon. By the end of this week, I'll have a new schedule. Okay, by the end of this week, I'll choose a new schedule and I'll post it. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Fio. I saw your comment. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Simone. I saw your comments too. I appreciate it. If I don't see your comments, or I should say, if I didn't say something, that doesn't mean I didn't see your comment. I read everything. I read all the comments, everybody. So, all right, guys. Thanks. I'll see you guys next